At Half Past Podcast, without giving away any spoilers, what's one aspect about Kylo Ren you're excited for fans to see in the next film? Good question. We're not revealing anything, but an aspect.
I think, maybe this is such a general answer, but, humanity, even though that's very much a blockbuster movie, and I'm aware of that, there was no taking that for granted, and that we were forced to be general. There was a lot of plot points that we knew were operating in the first one that we are get to explain more in the second one that make both of them make sense. But that they do kind of feel kind of socially active to me too, in that they're and George Lucas, this is a long answer, but George Lucas, originally a lot of Star Wars was in response to Vietnam, and I think a lot of what I remember talking about with JJ and Ryan was this idea of terrorism and two sides kind of being morally justified to behave however they wanted to get what they thought was absolutely correct.
Hey YouTubers, the year of hype has started, so Kylo Ren teasing his character in Episode 8, let's break it down. There is a new round of the Star Wars giveaway. It's for IMAX gift certificates. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. Be sure to click that bell to enable alerts so you don't miss anything. So what is he saying here? There's like a Lucasfilm person off in the distance that you can't see with a sniper rifle on him. Just careful not to give away super big plot points. But he actually says a bunch of stuff. So number 10, he's basically saying we're going to see Kylo Ren's humanity in Episode 8, meaning that we might get like a full-blown redemption of Kylo arc by the end of the series, which might not be a huge surprise. Like, he goes into this big speech about the original conception of the character with the producers, how they wanted to show a bunch of people tackling the same problem of bringing order to a galaxy in chaos from two balanced perspectives. Now, we use the word balance, but the First Order just totally came off like fascist. They massacred a bunch of people with a giant Death Star weapon. He even killed his father. So even though the First Order, Kylo Ren, Snoke are definitely the antagonists of the new trilogy, they're going to do a good job of providing a balanced perspective, like why it is that Kylo Ren believes that what they're doing is the right way of doing things. So number 9, bringing order to a galaxy in chaos. Very Darth Vader original trilogy approach to what Kylo Ren is doing now, which makes sense because he's a Vader fanboy. He carries the melted helmet around with him. The ashes that he puts it in there are actually the ashes of the people that he's defeated. They left that detail out of the movie, but it just lets you know how hardcore he is. But those aren't Vader's ashes, just the helmet belongs to Vader. Number 8, talking about some more of the context that he said that they're going to be adding. How did he come to be with Supreme Leader Snoke? So they actually explain a little bit of that during the expanded materials and the books that they released. Like if you bought one of the lookbooks, you actually learned a little bit more about the characters than you would in the movie. So they describe Kylo Ren as someone that has an identity crisis growing up just because of who his family is. His parents are a big part of the resistance, forming this new government. The galaxy's kind of in chaos, so he himself has an identity crisis. And in that moment of weakness, Supreme Leader Snoke seeks him out and takes advantage of him just like a cult leader would, feeding him promises, giving him the feeling of purpose and family that he felt like he wasn't getting from his real family. But as Adam Driver describes him, like he still feels the pull of the light side. So number 7, why did he have to kill Han Solo in the movie? The biggest reason for that is that his family was a big tether for him to the light side of the Force. He wanted to get rid of that, so he felt like he had to kill his father, although really it was Snoke pushing him in that direction in a reverse version of what Luke Skywalker had to go through. Like the test that he had to face Vader and confront the idea that he was his father. Like he had to come to terms with that. That was one of the final tests on his path to becoming a Jedi. Not just fighting Darth Vader, but also coming to terms with who Vader was and what that meant about himself, about Luke. So Kylo Ren had a reverse version of that. So when he's having the speech with Obi-Wan Kenobi getting ready to go to Cloud City to save his friends, Kylo Ren has the same version of that speech with Supreme Leader Snoke here, where he kind of feigns the problem like, oh, this is going to be a big test for you. You've never faced anything like this, even though you're the master of the Knights of Ren.
There's been an awakening. Have you felt it? Yes. There's something more. The droid we seek is aboard the Millennium Falcon, in the hands of your father, Han Solo.
He means nothing to me.
Even you, Master of the Knights of Ren, have never faced such a test.
By the grace of your training, I will not be seduced.
We shall see. We shall see.
So you could argue that Kylo Ren didn't totally pass his test in the way that Luke didn't totally pass his test either. Like, he came out of it with one less hand and just could barely process the idea that Darth Vader was his father. So Kylo Ren is able to kill Han Solo, but that doesn't magically cut him off from the light side of the Force. J.J. Abrams did explain after the movie came out that it sort of like wounded him in a spiritual way, so it weakened him because it was such a heinous act. So that kind of informed his lightsaber fight with Rey at the end, like he was weakened spiritually from killing Han Solo, but he also got hit with the bowcaster blast, so he was physically wounded. So he was like gravely wounded, even though it didn't really come across with the performance. Like, you kind of get the sense that he's wounded. But he's a Vader fanboy, so number 6, now that he's done this, he's going to dig his heels in and double down on the dark side of the Force, even though the light side isn't totally dead inside him. Remember, we're going to see his humanity, meaning that if there's still humanity in him, there's still the light side of the Force inside of him. So, redemption of Kylo Ren. So number 6, more context. There's just so much we don't know about what precipitated what's happening in Episode 7. We get flashes of it when Rey touches Anakin's lightsaber. We flash back to the Jedi Academy massacre. You see Kylo Ren with the Knights of Ren. It looks like they've come back after some absence. He has his red lightsaber. So whatever's happened, he's taken on his dark side persona and come back to get rid of the Jedi in the way that Anakin came back and massacred all the children at the Jedi Temple. So whereas with Episode 3, you sort of saw all the moments leading up to that, you saw the Emperor tell him to go take care of the younglings. Like, he basically told him, go kill all these people. You didn't really see that with Kylo Ren's character. So we'll get some more context for that, what led up to that moment, why it is he left the Jedi Temple. If Supreme Leader Snoke is such an evil person, Luke Skywalker would probably be aware of him and keep him away from the Jedi. So there are a lot of character beats and story beats as well that Episode 7 skipped over that Episode 8 will add context for. Speaking of which, number 5, the Knights of Ren. So everybody's wondering about them. The way they explain it is that they're not Sith, but it's basically like another aspect of the religion of the Force, like they introduced the idea of the Church of the Force. Rogue One actually took a more religious perspective of the Force itself. So just like all religions have their deities, everyone has like very different ways of worshiping the Force and using it. So the Knights of Ren is just meant to be like another dark side spin-off, in the way that the Sith was just like another sect of dark side users. But a lot of you are wondering, like we saw that really badass castle on Mustafar that belonged to Vader. It was built on the ruins of an ancient Sith temple or an ancient structure that was very strong in the dark side of the Force. So it would make sense that Kylo Ren would start retreading a lot of Darth Vader's path just because he's so obsessed with him.
I feel it again. The pull to the light. Supreme Leader senses it. Show me again the power of the darkness, and I will let nothing stand in our way. Show me, Grandfather, and I will finish what you started.
He's almost on the exact same mission with the exact same plan that Darth Vader was on, so even if we don't see it in Episode 8, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point during his training, he visited that place. But we'll see wherever it is the Knights of Ren are actually finishing their training, because that's what Snoke says at the end of Episode 7. He tells General Hux to get Kylo Ren, bring him to me so that we can finish his training.
The collapse of the planet has begun.
Leave the base at once and come to me with Kylo Ren. It is time to complete his training.
So number 4, what is Snoke trying to do with Kylo Ren? What is that training? What's the whole point of it? So the way they explain it in like all the expanded materials, the lookbooks, is that he's trying to create a super Jedi from a fallen light side Jedi because he feels someone touched by the light side could ultimately become a more powerful Jedi than someone who was just a purely dark side Force user. So if you didn't read the Expanded Universe books, there was a character called Jacen Solo. He was one of the twins born to Han and Leia, who became something of a super Jedi himself by learning to harness both the dark side and the light side of the Force. So they called it the unifying Force. It's like a much more broader perspective of how the Force works. And they're kind of doing that on Rebels a little bit this season, but they call it the Bendu.
Jedi and Sith, the light and the dark. I'm the one in the middle, the Bendu. Once a secret is known, it cannot be unknown.
You have Dark Jedi on one side, you have Light Jedi on the other. The Bendu is in the middle and has a slightly broader perspective of what the Force is. So yes, Snoke wants to subjugate the galaxy the way the Emperor does, bring it under control, but he also wants to create a super Jedi. So you wonder if like he and Rey are on parallel arcs, if the same thing is going to happen from Rey's perspective, like if she'll be pulled to the dark side of the Force and they'll both become these crazy Jedi that wield both the dark side and the light side of the Force. Number 3, speaking of which, what is the history between Kylo Ren and Rey? Because he definitely knew who she was when he learned that they were on Jakku.
Anything else?
The two were accompanied by a girl.
What girl?
He freaked out at the thought of a girl, a Force user, so he probably knew her at the Jedi Academy. She seems like she's quite a bit younger, so like when he's here massacring all these Jedi, she's like the little girl here that they drop off on Jakku. So on the surface, still pending what her true identity is, it seems like they just knew each other at the Academy, and she survived the massacre, and he's upset about that. But there are all kinds of theories about who Rey's parents are. Maybe she's related to Obi-Wan Kenobi somehow. Maybe she's related to the Skywalkers. So they'll add more context for that as well, how she came to be left on Jakku by herself, because presumably if she was going to be hiding out on some desert planet, they would leave her in the care of someone like an Obi-Wan figure, someone to watch over her from a distance. And she really didn't have that. Like there were people that kind of looked out for her, made sure she didn't die, but she didn't have an Obi-Wan Kenobi like Luke Skywalker had. Number 2, what about Supreme Leader Snoke? Where was he when all the stuff during the original trilogy was happening? Because he looks very old, twisted by the dark side, so just like the Emperor, he was very strong in the Force. But if all this stuff was happening with the Emperor and the Empire during the original trilogy, what was Snoke doing? So based on the way the expanded material describes him, he was just kind of waiting for his opportunity. He has a different approach to the dark side of the Force than the Emperor had, so he was just off practicing his Force magic off in a different part of the galaxy, just watching all this chaos unfold, waiting for the galaxy to crumble so he could just walk in, cherry pick the stuff that he wanted, which included the remnants of the Empire, which became the First Order, and then Kylo Ren. Like they said that he had a long-time fascination with the Skywalker lineage, so when he saw the opportunity to nab one of the Skywalker children, someone who flowed from the lineage of Darth Vader, he took it. So it wasn't like he just stumbled upon Kylo Ren, like he'd just been waiting for an opportunity to take him from his family. But number 1, what does this mean about Endgame, and when are we actually going to get some footage? So the footage stuff is a little bit easier to explain. Mark Hamill teased that he's going to give a first look at Episode 8 on his show Pop Culture Quest. He didn't say when that's going to happen, sometime soon, presumably, but I think the actual footage won't drop till Star Wars Celebration in the spring. So just set your calendars for that, for like an actual trailer. So get hype, it's going to be awesome. If 2016 was the year of Zero Chill, then 2017 is going to be the year of hype. So I'll say congratulations to the latest Star Wars giveaway winner, Ulysses Adkins. You win a pair of IMAX gift certificates. Be sure to private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. There is a new round that started in this video, so because my next video will be Star Wars Princess Leia, I'll just announce the winner when I post that. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for my Thor Ragnarok Planet Hulk preview, and you can click here for all my Rogue One Easter eggs. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.